The new eFootball has been out for quite a while now, and today I'll have a look at the new game mechanics, show you one or two tricks and tell you what I think about the new gameplay. There's one thing that I really hate with a passion. Here comes Pepper. Welcome everybody, let's get right into this and start with Sharp Touch. Sharp Touch, in case you don't know, is if you double tap sprint. You will then see two green circles if you have it activated, and the ball will bounce and go a bit further when dribbling. Before version 4 it wasn't that useful, but now you're significantly faster. Konami actually did this well, because since the ball is going a lot further away, you also have a greater risk of losing it. It's a reasonable trade-off. In numbers, the Chinese tester Amadeus has found out that a player with dribbling and speed of 99 will run at 87 speed with Sharp Touch and 77 without. That's a massive difference. But that's not everything. You can also use it to dribble past defenders. If you time it correctly and consider the motion and the body stance of the opponent's player, it's not that hard. Looking at this here, it's quite obvious that my opponent will just run into the projected way of my striker. So what I do is, I Sharp Touch to where he came from, because since he is in motion he can turn instantly and I can run past him. It's like karate. We use the opponent's force against themselves. Or was that judo? Or what do I know? Same thing here. You can already see how I Sharp Touched because of the circles. This is where the opponent runs, so he can't just turn around instantly. But I can Sharp Touch behind him. Okay, Oblak saves it, okay. Another example is this, where the opponent runs directly towards me, which means he cannot suddenly turn and move south, which is exactly where I will go. There is another trick you can use, but it's cheeky and not that reliable. So only use it if the chance of losing the ball is already high. In a situation like this, you can try to Sharp Touch the ball between the defender's legs. The timing isn't easy, but it feels nice if it works. You can also do these tricks without Sharp Touch, just with normal sprinting, by the way. So if you're in a tight space, don't Sharp Touch. I feel like when you have the space, Sharp Touch feels a lot better though. Another thing Sharp Touch is really good at are first touches. I can't even pinpoint down what exactly it is, but I feel like it's not only faster, but also more smooth. Especially here you can see how well it meshes into the running animation. I always use it in situations like these when there's no defender between my striker and the goal, and I can just run towards the goal alone. I also feel like Sharp Touch is especially good when the ball's direction differs from the direction the player is running. Here you can see what I mean. Van Nistelrooy runs this way, I then Sharp Touch in this direction, and it works really well. Another big change of the update was that Finesse Dribble is now more easily accessible because they changed the controls for it. No longer any external stuff needed to adjust the sensitivity of the sticks and stuff. I really welcome this change. There's a lot of stuff you can do with Finesse Dribble that can really improve your gameplay. If you're interested in this, I've already explained some tricks and talked about them in a tutorial video. The next thing is something super weird, and that's the game not registering inputs. I've had this happen a few times but never know if it was my hardware or the game, so I used a controller overlay to find out. And I was right, I was not just seeing things, and this has never happened before version 4. You see, I want Ribéry to make a pass here. You know, that's why I pressed pass. And we can see that I pressed it. Guilty as charged. But Ribéry does nothing. No input registered, no power bar showing, nothing. Like, hello, let me know if this also happens to you. The next topic is the defensive AI. Let me introduce you to this with this clip here. What do you expect to happen here? Yeah, probably not this. Scoring goals like this doesn't even feel good because it was literally gifted by the game. Another thing I noticed about the AI is that fullbacks sometimes fall back way too far. Are they fallbacks now? Look at this. The fullback here has no business being there other than making sure Makai is not offside. Remember the guy on your youth team who didn't quite understand defensive tactics? That's him right there. Here another example. Fullback is too far back. I score. Again here, again, fullback stays way behind the defensive line. Can we call them failbacks now? It doesn't seem to happen as often recently anymore, but back when the game switched to version 4, I saw this way more often than I should have. So always be aware what the opponent's failbacks are doing, and if they're imposters, make use of it. But it's not only that. Sometimes the defensive AI just runs into nowhere and leaves a gap. Like look here, we'd all expect this player to turn around and mark the attacker. I'm not even sure what the AI intended to do there, but it was horrible. Another thing I noticed is that the AI would fail to do obvious interceptions more often now, like here or here. Or my personal favorite, this one. What do you think is gonna happen here? He'll just take the ball, right? Whoops, he didn't. Oh boy, like why? And these aren't even the worst things. You've probably seen quite a few videos on social media about passes literally going through players like they were transparent. So yeah, I also noticed that passing overall felt a bit different after the update. Seemingly easy passes like this one ended up at wrong players more often than before for me. I mean, in this specific case it could have been too much power and more of a problem of passing assist, but to me it feels a little off in some situations. It also happened to my opponents. Like look at this. Of course I can't know for sure what he exactly pressed, but I'm 99% sure he wanted to pass up here because passing back makes no sense at all. It just feels like passing changed a little bit, and in edge cases it would choose the wrong player to pass to. In my opinion, the game chooses passes backwards more often now. I don't like this. Another thing I noticed about the AI is this here. Sometimes, like it happened to my opponent here, your offensive AI buddy would go for a great run so you can pass to him, except he just trolled and decided to stay back. In my opinion, happens a lot more since Efootball version 4. What they did improve a lot though is the next thing, and that's through balls. They now travel a lot more into open space instead of too close to the targeted player, which is really good. This not only allows playing more difficult and longer through balls, it's also advantageous because if the ball is played more into open space, your player gets it later, meaning he will be able to run faster for a bit longer. Overall, great change, definitely an improvement in my book. Next up is the change that I honestly hate most, and that's the new physical system. Now don't get me wrong, a change was necessary to put physical players in a better place, especially strikers. And this and the through ball change also shows me that Konami, while not always having perfect solutions, at least acknowledge some problems of the game. Acknowledge me as your tribal chief. The one thing I consider completely unnecessary and should be removed immediately is auto shielding. There are 3 things about it that I just absolutely despise. Number 1, it's heavily inconsistent. You never really know when exactly it starts, how long it takes until you finally lose the ball, or whether your passing or shooting inputs get cancelled. This goes for the entire physical system, by the way, not just auto shielding. If you look here, there is a little physical combat, but Van Nistelrooy just easily passes Militao. Then it's Van Nistelrooy versus Alaba, who usually has less physical contact than Militao. Of course, I don't remember which card it exactly was and I can't know their builds, but still. And here it's Van Nistelrooy against Alaba again. This time Van Nistelrooy would win and get to shoot if it wasn't for Rüdiger. For me, especially the 2 Alaba battles don't make sense, because Van Nistelrooy loses the one where he was further ahead, but wins the one where Alaba was closer. Maybe it's just me lacking fundamental understanding of this mechanic, I don't know. In my book, it should depend on proximity, angle, and of course the physical contact stat. But yeah, to me it just seems inconsistent. Another instance is this here. Güler has very bad physical stats, Rüdiger is amazing at it, but somehow no auto shielding happening, no grabbing, no pushing. Like why? It seems inconsistent, and inconsistency is not a good thing. The second thing is that shielding shouldn't be automated ever. The player should decide whether he wants to dribble or shield, period. And that's what leads me to number 3, the entire auto shielding and grabbing from afar bar animation made many nice left stick dribblings impossible now. Left stick dribbling, especially with always being on the edge of losing the ball, always using your player model to body block, was in my opinion one of the most exciting things in the game. Let's look at this attack from before the update. I run next to the player, no auto shielding, no grabbing, no stunning, and then I guess where my opponent moves his player and I move in front of him. He can't get past me. In the new version, there's a good chance I'd either get pushed off or be forced into auto shielding, effectively ending my dribbling. Then I keep running a little bit further and then double touch block in front of him, again putting my player's model between the other player and the ball. When the second player shows up, I make a quick turn and move away. By now, my players have caught up and I can finalize my attack. The chance of this being possible in the current game's version is very low because odds are at some point the opponent just pushes you off or you're forced into auto shielding. And that took away a big way of skill expression and fun of the game. Another problem with the new physical system is that whoever has the ball seems to have a disadvantage. Now this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but look at this. I pass to Makai, but the opponent intercepts the ball but can't really control it. Now for the game, Makai is kind of the defender in a sense who is trying to steal the ball, meaning I will win the duel. So you could in theory, although it's very situational, purposely super cancel to have long balls intercepted provided your physical forward is close enough and immediately starts physical combat. But to be fair, it's kind of theoretical and more a situational thing. And I also want to add, in all fairness, auto shielding and the entire physical thing is a lot better and less annoying now than it was when version 4 released. It's still not where I ideally would want it to be, but at least it's better now. The next thing is again something I don't really like, and that's keepers. Goalkeeping seems wildly inconsistent now. Sometimes they're legitimately trolling. Sometimes they're unable to catch or at least save easy shots, which I don't think happened as much before the update. On other occasions, they do amazing saves. One thing that was really crazy was this here. Enjoy. I refuse to comment this. Okay, I no longer refuse. Like, why? How? Huh? Like, at this point, how does my keeper not know what's gonna happen? Why is he just falling down like this? Vote him off this spaceship already, now. In general, I'd want goalkeepers to be a bit more consistent, especially with easy shots, and especially if it's a high-rated keeper, and even more especially if it's my goalkeeper. Another thing I noticed a bit more after the update were some really weird interactions with the ball, especially first touches. Like here, letting the ball go way too far for no reason. Same here, neither controlling the ball nor passing it, but just doing whatever he did there. Or this pass here, no idea what that was even supposed to be. I also don't know what Xabi Alonso attempted to do there, but I'm quite sure neither did he. This one here also looked really funny, although to be fair, I think I was just too slow to press here. I mean, you see where this is going, just a lot of weird stuff happening, and in my opinion, more frequently than before the update. One last, Roy Makai, who I think is refusing to adhere to the laws of physics. But then again, it's Makai. If somebody can, then it's him, right? Nothing to see here. The last thing I want to talk about is that I think matchup is a little bit weaker than I was before. Not sure if I like this. Sometimes, I think even when working as intended, players step over the ball or just let it slide by a lot more often than before the update. I also had the feeling that blocking shots was a little bit less reliable than before. If you look here, I think I positioned close enough to block the shot, but my player didn't even try, but just kind of glided away a little or something. What do you people think of the new eFootball? Do you think it's better? Has it improved for you? Feel free to let me know. That's it, folks. Let me know if you liked this video. I'd love if you subscribed, liked, or commented. Until then, guys, take it easy. Shaka!